Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Congregation Beth Israel in Houston, Texas. We're glad that you've joined us on this Shabbat. Shabbat is our day of rest and joy that allows us to create a separation from all that may have occurred during the week. May our prayers, words, and songs help to elevate your soul and bring you comfort, strength, and peace on this day. Please enjoy our service.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos to each of you. We are delighted to welcome you to the Gordon Chapel and to begin with a nigun, a song without words, so that we could all come from our separate places and feel connected by those ancient Hebrew words, la, la, la. And as we take our places and we set aside the challenge and the busyness of the week, let's turn to each other and welcome each other as family, as friends here, wishing each other Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
A warm welcome certainly is a refreshing reprieve from all that we have encountered and challenged ourselves with this week. So let's let the music of Shabbat continue as it welcomes us into this beautiful day of rest, of joy, and peace, as Cantor continues.
We continue now with the singing of Lecha Dodi on page 20. Please join us. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Lecha Dodi. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Likrat Kala. Yai-di-di-di-dai, P'nei Shabbat. P'nei Shabbat, V'kabela. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Lecha Dodi. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Likrat Kala. Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat, V'kabela. Shamor v'zachor, b'diborecha, Hishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet, v'litilah. Yai-dai-dai, yai-dai-dai-dai, Lecha Dodi. Yai-dai-dai-dai, Likrat Kala. Shabbat, V'kabela. Likrat Shabbat, Lechu v'neilcha, Ki mekor haberacha. Rosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'makshava techilah. Yai-dai-dai, yai-dai-dai-dai, Lecha Dodi. Yai-dai-dai-dai, Likrat Kala. Shabbat, V'kabela. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Lecha Dodi. Yai-di-di-di-dai, Likrat Kala. Yai-di-di-di-dai, P'nei Shabbat. P'nei Shabbat, V'kabela.
In our prayer book now, we turn to page 2 and 3. It's a privilege to invite Holly Rossoff to lead us in the blessing over the Sabbath lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
We continue now with Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 28. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. To be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema
Please be seated. Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha
ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 39, we continue responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Hashkivenu can be found on your Friday night guide. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomrei
Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust.
Page 44, together. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. HaTefillah, beginning on pages 46 and 48. Please rise.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Page 51, we read together at the bottom. Praise be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing rains let parched men and women flower toward the sun. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yichalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. Page 55, together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of solar light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hato shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Page 61, together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
טסים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם, וטוב בעיניך, יברך את עמך ישראל, בכל בית ובכל שער, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם, ברוך אתה אדוני. המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We pause for a few moments of silent prayer.
עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן. הוא עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל, amen.
In addition to our personal prayers and our prayers of peace, We include at this time in our service a prayer for healing, a healing of body and mind, of spirit and soul. And tonight we're especially thinking of Susan Pye, Jeffrey Feinstein, Renner Rauch, Arthur Hamburger, Donald Podoloff, Rebecca Risch, Morris Zucker, Joan Weisberg, as well as all those within your own families and circle of friends who are in need of healing. We'll continue now with our prayer, Heal Us Now, which can be found on the reverse side of your Friday night guide.
Rifa'inu Adonai v'nei Rafei, Hoshinu v'ni v'sheyad, El karov l'chol korav, acharov li'reav yishon. We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to once again El Narifana. Oh, please heal us now. Rifuat ha-nefesh, rifuat ha-guf, rifuat shalema. Heal us now. Heal us now. El Narifana. Oh, please heal us now. Rifuat ha-nefesh, rifuat ha-guf, rifuat shalema. El Narifana. Oh, please heal us now. Rifuat ha-nefesh, rifuat ha-guf, rifuat shalema. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now.
Our blessings continue with great expectation for a beautiful wedding, for a young couple who will enter the chuppah in coming weeks. It's a pleasure to invite to the bima Katrina Beecher and Craig Hirsch for a betrothal blessing. Mikor Ahava, source of all love, this young couple comes before you to find in your presence everything that they seek for themselves, individually and together. As I've come to know you, you are perfectly matched, perfectly made for one another, and with great expectation to unfold in so many beautiful ways all your dreams and hopes and pleasures. And as I will be joining you under the chuppah on that special day, we'll share a special blessing that includes our hope that as you exchange vows under the chuppah, that they will deepen the commitment that you will make on that day for all the days you will share. That your hearts will always be turned to each other in patience and understanding. That your home will be a mikdash ma'at, a small sanctuary dedicated to God, to Torah, to our people. And most of all, that all the joys and pleasures and wishes that you have for yourselves and that we wish for you will go with you now and for many years to come. It'll be my pleasure to extend you the blessing of old then. So let me invite the congregation to join us in sharing with you our Shehechianu, a prayer of gratitude and thanks for the blessings we share with you now and that you will celebrate in all your life together. We say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal Lord God, ruling Spirit of the universe, who has kept us in life and sustained us and brought us together to share a very joyful time. Amen. Mazel tov. Terrific. Okay. And mazel tov to your families. We are delighted tonight that our joy on Shabbat is deep and rich to fulfill our minds, our bodies, and our spirits indeed. So it's a real joy and a privilege to welcome a friend, a scholar, a colleague to our pulpit, and we love to welcome such friends to our place. So let me introduce and then welcome to speak Rabbi Rachel Sabbath Beit Halachmi. She's the former National Director of Recruitment and Admissions and President Scholar at Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, which means that she was a part of the place where all the rabbis, cantors, and educators many of you have come to know have been trained and we love. Dr. Michael Marmer, a recent guest in our congregation, and the Jack Joseph and Morton Mandel Provost of HUC, stated once before about our guest tonight that she's in the first rank of Reform thinkers. Her intellectual and scholarly prowess enriches the learning of our students and models excellence. Not too bad. She currently writes a regular column in the Jerusalem Post and Times of Israel. Ordained at HUC in New York in 1995, Rabbi Sabbath earned a doctorate in Jewish philosophy from the Jewish Theological Seminary, where she wrote her dissertation on the covenant theology of Eugene Borowitz. She is a Wexner Foundation graduate alumna and served Congregation Shirat Hayam on Nantucket Island seasonally for 12 years. The co-author of 2 books, Preparing Your Heart for the High Holidays and Striving Toward Virtue, Rabbi Sabbath has published numerous articles on Jewish peoplehood, theology, Israel, and gender. She speaks throughout North America and Israel. She and her husband, Ofer, live in Cincinnati and are the parents of 3 children. But our greatest pleasure is welcoming her here. We had a chance to catch up as friends before services, and our connection to Beth Israel continues as we welcome her now to speak. Rabbi. You're welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi Lyon. It's such a great pleasure to be here. Shabbat Shalom, Good Shabbos, and Mazel Tov to Katrina and Craig and Susanna and your families. I was just saying to Susanna, it's a lot of fun to be up here with all these blessings. And you can imagine that I already have it in my head. I said to her mother, we can think about her upcoming wedding. It's wonderful that you're modeling that next stage. And of course, those of you who know me well as colleagues know I'm also thinking about maybe she really likes the stuff in here and in here and here, and maybe she'll want to be a rabbi or a cantor, an educator one day. She's probably very glad that that's actually not the topic of tonight's lecture, but it's really a wonderful pleasure to be here, Rabbi Lyon. He had so many roles that I've had a chance to get to know him over the years. I think it's really been quite inspiring to see him in one role in particular, which you may not get to hear about. You know, your rabbis do so many things that you don't know. That sounds really much more interesting than what I'm about to say. But in fact, they spend their time, as you know, meeting with families and in hospitals and working on their liturgy and on their teaching and spending enormous amounts of time thinking about the issues of our day, which we'll say a lot more about in a moment. But they also give of their time to various rabbinic organizations and cantorial organizations. And Rabbi Lyon, I've gotten the chance to know him particularly well over the last few years in his role not only on the board of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, but also in his role on the President's Rabbinic Council of the Hebrew Union College. How many of you know what that means? See what you, some of you know. Okay, well, of course, right. So some of you know, but that means that he's been giving of his mind and heart and soul and time and a lot of late night conversations to his alma mater, to the Hebrew Union College, and we couldn't be more grateful to you. Thank you, and he's certainly a rabbi's rabbi in so many ways. And it's also such nachas to be here. I could just spend all of my time up here talking about the other folks on the bima, but indeed I was actually the liturgy professor for your cantor. Star, it's so wonderful to see you here leading that liturgy that we learned together. And of course, Rabbi Foster, we also had lots of wonderful times together in Israel and elsewhere, so it's so wonderful to see you thriving here. And Rabbi Scott, I'm just getting to know you, but it's the beginning of a friendship, I am sure. And when I think about your clergy and all that they do, I can't help and think about the issues of the day and the topic of tonight's conversation, which is Jewish, Christian, and Muslim hope, why we need each other now. That topic meant something different a few months ago and a few weeks ago than it even means today. I can't help but think about all the issues that we've all been facing in your community and throughout our nation and North America, and certainly as an Israeli in the state of Israel. And so I can't help but think about that age-old blessing, or is it a curse? May you live, we can say it together, may you live in interesting times. And just when I think we understand the reality in which we live, the political landscape, the situation of the Jewish people, something new, dramatic occurs. Or as my friend, journalist Warren Bass, who's brilliant, once wrote, he says, only someone who wants to be declared immediately wrong or even an idiot by tomorrow morning would dare to say anything decisive about the Middle East. So not to worry, I won't attempt to be utterly decisive just now, but I do want to share with you what I think we certainly can understand a great deal about, and that is about how great thinkers of the past, how great Jewish, Christian, and Muslim leaders of the past confronted the crises of their time. We can learn from their challenges. We can learn from what they struggled with. We can learn from their wisdom. We can learn from, in some cases, we're going to be talking about a radical theology that they had in order to confront the crises of their time. And we can also learn, I think, from their courage. And that might enable us to open our hearts and our minds to face what we need to face and embrace in our time. So I'm going to speak tonight about Jewish, Christian, and Muslim hope, not only out of the context of Jewish and interfaith leadership, and I know your community is really something that other communities should model in this field, but I'm going to be speaking about Jewish thought in the context of the Holocaust, in the context of early Zionism, in the context of engaging with the Vatican after World War II, in the context of the Civil Rights Movement, the context of the movement to free Soviet Jews, and in the context of facing the Vietnam War. So buckle your seatbelts. In 10 minutes, we're going to do all of Jewish thought in all of those arenas. Are you ready? Okay, we'll see what we can do. So I'm just going to try to focus on two thinkers in particular. These two Jewish thinkers were largely focused on the world Christian community, but much of what they said and taught, which was indeed radical, I think can be applied both to the Christian and the Muslim communities with whom we live and dwell and love and struggle in these days. So who are these two thinkers? The first of them is Abraham Joshua Heschel, and the second The first will be Martin Buber, actually. We'll do them chronologically. And the second will be Abraham Joshua Heschel, about whom I imagine if you had Rabbi Marmer here, you know everything there is to know about Heschel, yes? Should I test you? No? Okay. But he probably didn't talk about this in particular, which is why Rabbi Marmer and I are such a good chavruta. But I will say that I think that all of us are living here in an age of both dire emergencies everywhere we turn, and also incredible possibilities. We have never lived with Christians, quite literally, and with the Muslim community in North America and in the world in the ways in which we do today, which has enabled all kinds of possibilities. And yet, we see that between these precise peoples, right, beyond all of the crises that we might see around the world, we also see that the soul of humanity seems to be struggling as well. We don't know whether to function as individual religions and people, or whether or not we have to function as a global community, and how, in fact, as Jews, and as part of the Jewish community, do we function as both? So in fact, because of that tension, I would argue that this is a decisive hour. I'm convinced that we, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and people of all faiths, especially need each other now, in spite of and precisely because of our differences. Because there are so many powerful local and political forces preventing us from truly relying on each other in a local and national sense in most countries, and because there's so much religiously based fundamentalism and so much violence in so many parts of the world, I believe that people of faith have an even more urgent role to play if we can find a way to truly understand each other and understand what is at stake. In 1930, Martin Buber, this first Jewish thinker who was particularly active between World War I and World War II, and then fled to Palestine, was part of founding Hebrew University, where some of us have spent time, and also one of the founders, together with Henrietta Zold, the creator of Hadassah Hospitals, was one of the founders of something called Brit Shalom, which was this idea that perhaps there are, in fact, two nations, a binational reality in the land of Israel that ought to be taken into consideration. I'm not going to speak about how these issues have played themselves out, but you can see from Buber's hope that there would be a truly humanistic society that would be the Jewish state, you can see and imagine how many debates he was part of. But when it came to Christianity, while he understood well the differences, he said the following, which I think can instruct us. He said, "While we have many differences, what do we share in common?" And he put it this way: we share a book, a holy book, and an expectation. Well, for Christians, the book is a forecourt, right? The Old before the New Testament, as it were. And for us Jews, the book is our whole sanctuary. We dwell in the book. We can nevertheless dwell in those books that we share together. And together, if we read our holy texts together, we can redeem the imprisoned living word. The second difference, of course, you might be thinking to yourself, what's the other major difference that we have between Judaism and Christianity? Is the idea of the coming of the Messiah. While Christians await a second coming and Jews await a first, there are moments when we may prepare the way before him together. There are moments when we might prepare the way to redemption together. Redemption will come, he argued, only when we can trust each other enough to invite each other in and return to our shared texts. So it's not only about all of the things that we might already be doing together, but it's only when we really dwell in each other's texts and not only our political or social justice needs together. That's Buber. You can see how radical that his thinking was in his time. The second thinker, are you ready? We're already moving along in our course of 10 minutes of Jewish thought and Jewish history. The second is Abraham Joshua Heschel. How many of you know the iconic picture of Heschel marching with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King? Yes? You know that picture? That's probably one of the most famous pictures of Heschel. But in fact, that was 1965. In 1964, 16 of our colleagues and Al Vorspan, Alav Shalom, who recently passed away just this past week, marched with King, were called to march with him in the civil rights movement in 1964. In fact, they were all arrested for doing radical things like sitting at the same lunch counter, swimming in the same pools. I think they even had an interfaith service. And can you imagine 16 rabbis were arrested and put in one cell together overnight with one light bulb? And I think the hardest thing is they had to figure out, at some point in the middle of the night, they realized they should say something to the New York Times, because we all know if you don't say it to the New York Times, in our case, I guess on social media, it didn't happen, and there they are, sweating away in this jail cell in St. Augustine, Florida, and horrific things were happening all around them. They'd seen horrific things, bloody people, human beings who were treated horribly by the authorities, Ku Klux Klan, just horrible things. They asked one of the guards for a pencil and a piece of paper, and they all turned to Borowitz and said, "Gene, you should write why we went. Why are we here?" And in that piece of why we went, he says, because we felt the guilt of all that we had failed to do before. We know, he says, thinking about the Jews who were taken to the gas chambers, we know that so much could have been done. And so how can we stand idly by? And then they say something very profound, which is they say, we will not be silent because we know the most unpardonable sin of our time is the sin of silence. The sin of a human's failure to embrace their capacity to act. And it's around that time in 1965 where Abraham Joshua Heschel does something very radical. He was originally saved by the Hebrew Union College. You probably know something about that story. So say whatever you want about the Hebrew Union College, but we saved Heschel. The president of the time, Julian Morgenstern, saved Heschel. With a scholar's refugee visa that literally he'd already been arrested twice. So that's in the early 40s. He's saved. He's brought to Cincinnati, where actually Borowitz and others got to study with him. He's now at the seminary, and it's 1965. For those of you who remember 1965, are you willing to raise your hands? I mean, what is going on in 1965? Everything. Everything, as far as I can tell. So, right, what is he going to do? What's the radical thing he's going to do? He's marched in Selma. He's part of, this is what they called themselves, concerned clergy for Vietnam. I just want to say he was standing out there in Washington with a lot of people he didn't entirely agree with. He was standing with a lot of clergy of a lot of other faiths and a lot of people of other colors that he didn't agree with because human life was at stake. Just want to remind us all of that. But he did a radical thing, which I want to say a word about before we move toward conclusion. He goes across the street. He goes across the street from the seminary at 127th and Broadway. We were just talking about that neighborhood. He goes all the way across the street to Union Theological Seminary in order to do something radical, in order to talk to Christian theologians. He invited his other colleagues, this is November 1965, he invited his other colleagues to walk all the way across the street. All the way across the street. And guess how many came? 0. Because the Rav, Soloveitchik, the great leader of modern Orthodoxy at the time, had said it's forbidden to engage in theological dialogue. But he goes this is, in a post-Shoah, don't forget the mindset. He goes all the way across the street and he gives a lecture which becomes, I think, the most important piece of what I hope we'll take away with us tonight and into the world after Shabbat, which is, he says to this group of people of another faith, he said, I want to tell you who I am. I speak as a member of a congregation whose founder was Abraham. And the name of my rabbi is Moses. I speak as a person who was able to leave Warsaw, the city in which I was born, just 6 weeks before the disaster began. My destination was New York. It would have been Auschwitz or Treblinka. I am a brand plucked from the fire in which my people was burned to death. I am a brand plucked from the fire of an altar of Satan on which millions of human lives were exterminated to evil's greater glory and on which so much else was consumed. The divine image of so many human beings, so many people's faith in God, the God of justice. And then he says something very profound. I speak as a person who is often afraid and terribly alarmed lest God had turned away from us in disgust, and even deprived us of the power, of the ability to understand his word. I speak as a person who is convinced that, and this I want you to put in any religion into these names, I speak as a person who is convinced that the fate of the Jewish people and the fate of the Hebrew Bible and the God of the Hebrew Bible are intertwined. The recognition of us, of our status as Jews and the legitimacy of our survival is only possible in a world in which the God of Abraham, the God who created all people, is revered. In other words, we are mutually codependent on each other. If our God and our way of being and our understanding of the value of life is not revered and understood in the way that those same ideas are revered in other religions, right? We will have no status because God and the idea and the value of life won't be able to survive. And so he says that we're no longer he said this in 1965. The religions of the world are no more self-sufficient, no more independent, no more isolated than individuals or nations. Horizons are wider and dangers are greater. No religion is an island. We are involved with one another. Spiritual betrayal on the part of one of us affects the faith of all of us. And I think that's what we heard our colleagues saying the year before, that we are betraying each other. And our own faith won't be able to survive if we let the other be betrayed. And so Heschel believed and taught the radical idea that God wanted all of these religions so that we could hold each other up. God wanted many religions and many peoples so that we could actually help hold each other up. In fact, he became a precursor to what a more contemporary Christian theologian argued, Christer Stendahl, who was a bishop in Stockholm and then a dean at the Harvard Divinity School. He argued that, in fact, all religions are in need of the understanding of the other. In fact, none of us, no religions, and no single person and no leader and no community has a monopoly on God. Which I also take to mean no religion has a monopoly on the understanding of goodness and ethics. Each religion, each community has part of a whole, but actually we can never see the whole. So if you want to know God more, and you want to know truth more, and you want to know ethics more, what will you have to do? If we don't have it all, and you want to know more, and you want to understand God more deeply, what do you need to do? You're going to need to go across the street. Or in Buber's case, right, across the border. Or sometimes in our cases, across the checkpoint. Or across the river. Or across the bridge. Or at least you might have to walk across the bayou. Is that possible? Or drive across? Because only if we do that, only if we truly want to understand each other and see the image of God in the other, and have a chance to save the God and each other, and redeem each other, only if we do that, only if we do that will we be able to save the God and the image of God in all of us for the future. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much.
What a treat to welcome Rabbi Sabbath Beit Alachmi to our congregation, and we can enjoy her tomorrow morning at Torah study, where we'll engage not only the parashah, but also all that she has come here to teach us. What a great hope that we have, and especially as she's come to learn about our community. The interfaith nature of Houston has been a rich part of our expectation that all faith traditions and peoples can truly come together and to share something special about the future we all wish to build and share as one. Please rise. As we take our places before the Holy Ark, it's our great expectation that as we have done for generations, we will take the Torah and its teachings and fill the arms, the hands, the mind, and body with all that it has promised for us throughout the generations, and especially for the future we wish to build. And so what a pleasure it is now to take the Torah once more and to pass it from generation to generation.
Exalt Adonai, our God, and bow down toward God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
In our prayer book, we turn now to the bottom of page 282 and 287 as we join in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor alinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'nemar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, Shemo, Hu Shemo, Hu Shemo Echad.
Page 294. We take this time now to call to heart and mind our dear ones who departed this earth and enter the peace of life eternal. And as we read their names aloud, we invite those who are here to recall their memory, to stand in your place if you wish. Afterwards, we'll all rise to recite Kaddish. Lovingly we remember Dorothea Tannenbaum, Marshall Cantor, Marvin Cantor, Ted Schneidler. And we add the names of those the anniversary of whose death is observed this Shabbat. Maurice Rosenberg, Leon Pellos, Shepard Brightman, Mindy Gorel, William Himmel, Gertrude Kessler, Shirley Kessler, Herman Lurie, Judith Mabry, Theodore Manns, Herman Melcher, Gladys Nathan, Jacob Nemirovsky, Charles Rosenthal, Lena Stepansky, Betty Struzen, Goldie Wiesenthal, Beulah Wolf, David Ziegler, Tanya Ackerman, Dave Berman, Bernard Demaratsky, Norma Leah Farnell, Francis Golden, Shoel Greenspun, Leonard Grushko, Bernard Lasky, Elise Leston, Harry Levy, Mary Levy, Edith Lurie, Minnie Siskin Perlman, Irma Rose Proler, Helen Rosen, Isidore Schoss, Emily Sloan, Francis Austin, Herman Greenberg, Julius Markle, Robert Naklis, Reba Rauch, Isidore Roos, Morris Rosen, Ben Schreiber, Gerald Simon, Selma Zimberoff, Herman Alexander, Molly Chapman, Debbie Foster, Ignacio Garza Jr., Edmund Hecht, Herbert Loftman, Beatrice Lemble, Myrtle Lowenstern, Irving Marks, Nona Marks, Mamie Minchin, Marion Novick, Sidney Rinkoff, Saul Schwartz, Thomas Abels, Nechama Alperovich, Noam Berliner, Leo Brukas, Louis Foreman, Dan Gould, Annie Kessler, Hart Levin, Neron Paul Lewis, Clara Mace, Herschel Maltz, Belle Marks, Sam Melnick, Dorothy Minchin, Moses Rizhik, David Shabbat, Ann Silvers, Clarice Spitz, Betty Saraski, Harry Schwartzberg, Ephraim Tita, Abe Weingarten, Louis Wellen, Eugene Zeben, Constance Abrams, Samuel Barron, Norma Bealey, Abe Cohen, Morris Field, Leah Grossberg, Carl Herman Jr., Roxanne Meyerson, Bessie Miller, Elsie Moran, Benjamin Perlman, Shirley Ross, Rella Schwartz, Herman Weiner, Sidney Abramson, Milton Anhalt, Mary Bingman, Marie Moloff Blankfield, Grace Buckman, Dora Chesnick, Ann Fleischman, Selma Gold, Nathan Kraselsky, Stephen Lukes, Oscar Plotkin, Helen Robinson, David Shack, Harry Soloway, Morris Turk. In their memory and in their honor, let us rise together and recite the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yamah divrachute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitjomam v'yitnaseh. V'dadar v'taleh v'talal shmei gudashah brichu. Elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram v'yamah v'imru amen. Hehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn, and comfort to all the bereaved among us, as together we say, amen. As we have dealt with death as part of life, we turn our attention to Kiddush so that we may sanctify the Sabbath day with the sweetness of the wine. We'll invite our bat mitzvah to lead us, and we can join her on page 5.
One second, okay. It's to you. Got it?
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose finding favor with us sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage, as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies us with Shabbat. We therefore raise the cup in thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon nilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, kinu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zeher litziat mitzrayim, kivanu v'hartav hinotanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshaha ba'ahava uveratzon hinaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Irving Stern, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of Beth Israel's Board of Trustees. Welcome and thank you to Rabbi Rachel Sabbath Beit Halachmi for joining us this Shabbat and for her very meaningful message. Tomorrow morning, Rabbi Sabbath will lead Torah study at 9:45 in the fingerboard room. Mazel tov to the family of Susanna Rossoff, who is becoming a bat mitzvah this Shabbat. On Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. in the fingerboard room, we will invite our rabbinic intern from Jerusalem, Dr. David Barak Gorodetsky, who is with us tonight to lead our final Family Matters session. The topic is entitled Making Judaism Relevant for Our Children in Israel and Beyond. All are welcome. On Sunday evening at 5 p.m., our membership committee will present our second annual Rock and Roll Bingo Night. Please plan to arrive early as we expect a large turnout, great food, and amazing prizes. Please visit our website for more information and to RSVP. After tonight's service, Stan Levy and I look forward to welcoming you. Please join us at the membership table in Wolf Tuman Hall following services. Shabbat Shalom.
This evening we are also in the company of other colleagues who I'm delighted to identify and recognize. There are many rabbis among us. In addition to your clergy team and our very wonderful guest, Rabbi Sabbath, we also have Rabbi David Barak Gorodetsky. David, just raise your hand because David is our intern from Jerusalem. He is studying to be a rabbi in Jerusalem. He is an Israeli, a Reform rabbi for the Israeli Reform community, and David will be here not only these 2 weeks, but return again in the fall. And we're delighted to have you. I also want to welcome my classmate and my colleague, Rabbi Daniel Swartz is here. Rabbi Schwartz is here for a 3-day climate change conference that began last night at the Rothko Chapel, where he spoke, and he'll be participating. And it's a delight to see my friend from school. And of course, Rabbi Seth Stander and his family is here, and Rabbi Stander serves our community and is also a part and a member of our congregation. So welcome, Rabbi. And our own Rabbi Samuel Karf, who is always here on Shabbat. And what a delight, Rabbi, to welcome you among all the rabbis we honor and welcome on Shabbat. And without further ado, our closing song, the cantor is already warming up to lead us in singing Ozi v'zimrat Yah, those beautiful words from Exodus. On page 343, you can find the words. Please rise and join us. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, in your presence may we find the reasons to seek peace amongst each other. Help us to find our way across the street, across the bayou, if we can walk or run or swim. Let us learn all that you have placed in our hands in our trust to serve this world well, for the sake of greater joy, for greater life, for greater peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for being a part of our community on this Shabbat. I hope that you enjoyed our service and your soul is uplifted with strength and peace to last you into the coming week. Please know that I, as well as the rest of our clergy team, are available to you with any questions you may have about our sacred congregation. Thank you for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.